Hi, I'm Ch1, and this is Red Share Reading. No Red Share today as I'm on location at Ansel Hoffman Park. I have a new book to share with you, The Black Book of Secrets by F.E. Higgins. In this video, I read the author's note and Chapter 1. Let's go. A note from the author. I came upon Joe Zabadow's Black Book of Secrets and Ludlow Fitch's memoirs in a rather curious manner. They were tightly rolled up and concealed within the hollow of a wooden leg. How I came to be in possession of the leg is unimportant right now. What matters is the story the documents tell. Unfortunately, neither Joe's Black Book nor Ludlow's memoirs survived the centuries intact, and when I unrolled them, it was obvious that they had suffered damage. Not only were the pages brittle and water-stained, but much of what I had was also illegible. The fragments and extracts are reproduced here exactly as they were written. I corrected Ludlow's spelling. It really was quite dreadful. But I did no more than that. As for the parts that are missing, what else could I do but draw upon my imagination to fill the gaps? I pieced the story together in the way I thought best. I like to think I stayed as close to the truth as I could with the few facts I had. I do not claim to be the author of this story, merely the person who has tried to reveal it to the world. F.E. Higgins, England. The Black Book of Secrets. Chapter 1. When I opened my eyes, I knew that nothing in my miserable life prior to that moment could possibly be as bad as what was about to happen. I was lying on the cold earthen floor of a basement room lit by a single candle. No more than an hour's burning left. Instruments of a medical nature hung from hooks in the beams. Dark stains on the floor suggested blood. But it was the chair against the opposite wall that let's see how few times I can bungle a word, that fully confirmed my suspicions. This thick leather straps attached to the arms and legs were there for one person only. For one purpose only. Check my eyes too. To hold down an unwilling patient, Ma and Pa were standing over me. "Ease awake," crowed Ma excitedly. Pa dragged me to my feet. He had me in an iron grip, my arm wrenched up behind my back. Ma held me by the hair. I looked from one to the other. Their grinning faces were only inches away from mine. I knew I should not look at them to save me. I should not look to them to save me. Another man, concealed until now in the shadows, stepped forward and took me by the chin. He forced open my mouth and ran a blackened, foul-tasting finger around my gums. "How much?" asked Pa, drooling with anticipation. "Not bad," said the man. "3 apiece. Maybe 12 in all." "It's a deal," said Pa. "Who needs teeth anyway?" "Someone, I hope," replied the man dryly. "I sell 'em for a living." And they laughed, all three, Ma and Pa. Barton Gumbroot, the notorious tooth surgeon of Old Goat's Alley. Once the money for my teeth was agreed with Barton, they moved quickly. Together they dragged me over to the surgeon's chair. I kicked and shouted and spat and bit. I wasn't going to take it easy. I wasn't going to make it easy for them. I knew how Barton Gumbroot made his living, preying on the poor, pulling their teeth, paying them pennies, and selling them for 10 times as much. I was racked with fear. I had no protection. I was going to feel it all, every single nerve-stabbing twinge. They came close to succeeding in their evil quest. Ma was struggling with a buckle around my ankle, her hands shaking from the previous day's drinking, while Pa was trying to hold me down. Barton Gumbroot, the loathsome monster, was just hovering with his gleaming tool pull, snapping it open and shut, tittering and salivating. I believe to this day his greatest pleasure in life was inflicting pain on others, so much so that he couldn't wait any longer, and before I knew it, I could feel the cold metal of his instrument of torture clamped around a front tooth. He braced himself with his leg on my chest and began to pull. I cannot describe to you the pain that shot through my skull, my brain, and every nerve in my body. I felt it was my whole head, as if my whole head were being wrenched off. The tooth moved slightly in my jaw, and another white-hot shooting pain exploded behind my eyes. All the while, Ma and Pa laughed like maniacs. Rage swelled in me like a mountainous wave. I heard a roar worthy of a jungle beast, and I was taken over by seething fury. With my free leg, I kicked Pa hard and sharp in the stomach, and he collapsed on the floor. Barton caught by surprise, let go of the tooth pull, and I grabbed it and walloped him around the side of the head. I unstrapped my other leg and jumped down. Pa was groaning on the floor. Barton was leaning against the wall, holding his head, and Ma cowered in the corner. "Don't hit me, Ludlow," she begged. "Don't hit me." I will not deny I was tempted, but this was my chance to escape. Pa was almost on his feet again. I dropped the tooth pull, and in a matter of seconds, I was out the door, up the steps, and running down the alley. I could hear Ma screaming and Pa shouting and cursing. Every time I looked back, I could see where Pa's snarling face and Barton's hooked tooth pull glinting in the yellow gaslight. As I ran, I tried to think where to go. They knew so many of my hiding places. I decided on Mr. Jellicoe's, but when I reached his shop, the place was in darkness and the blind was down. I hammered on the window and shouted his name, but there was no reply. I cursed my bad luck. I knew if Mr. Jellicoe had gone at this time of night, he might not be back for days. But knowing this was little help in my current predicament. Oh, if this is interesting to you, please hit the like button. It'll help the video spread to other people, and thank you very much. So where to now? The bridge over the river Foedus and the Nimble Finger Inn. Betty Peggotty, the landlady, might help me. I ran out of the alley and onto the street, but they were already waiting for me. "There he is," screeched Ma, and the chase was on again. They surprised me, Pa especially, with their stamina. I had not thought they would last so long. For at least half a mile they chased me down the uncobbled narrow alleys and the filthy streets, tripping over bodies and avoiding snatching hands, all the way to the river. Every time I looked back, they seemed to be closer. I knew what would happen if they caught me again. The ache in my bleeding jaw was all the proof I needed. By the time I staggered onto the bridge, I was barely able to hold myself upright. Halfway across, I saw a carriage outside the Nimble Finger. Just as its wheels began to turn, I clambered on the back, hanging on for my life. As the carriage pulled away, the last thing I remember is the sight of Ma sinking to her knees. She was screaming at me from the riverbank, and the monster, Barton Gumbroot, was shaking his fist in rage. My name is Ludlow Fitch. Along with countless others, I had the great misfortune to be born in the city, a stinking place undeserving of a name. And I would have died there if it had not been for Ma and Pa. They saved me, though it was not their intention. When they delivered me, their only son, into the hands of Barton Gumbroot, this act of betrayal was possibly the greatest single piece of luck I ever had. Ma and Pa's diabolic plan brought about the end of one existence and the beginning of another. My life with Joe Zabadoo. That is the end of chapter 1. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. This is Hobie One, out.